Now, the reason is because a lot of us, we came into the profession as a generalist, okay? And some of us are still practicing, or some of us are still generalists up till today. And a lot will continue like that. But then some people will carve a niche for themselves by looking at other options, area of specialization where they could uh, get experience, technical skills and experiences to be able to separate themselves from the pack, not just a generalist now. So that is what we want to talk about, so that those who are coming into the profession would know that the profession has opportunities. The profession is not congested. The profession is still young, especially in Nigeria. So we have opportunity of expanding our horizon if we really know what we want and what we want to do. Okay, so basically that's just the introduction. So the health and safety environment is where body, has come to. People who have read different things can just participate. They could come in and be useful in the profession. I have seen that happen. I know of a guy who read soil science, but he's a safety advisor in a drilling rig. So you see, the opportunity are enormous. If only we can carve a niche for ourselves and we know exactly what we are doing. So it's a multidisciplinary field, like I said. It's a multidisciplinary field where every person, every worker, every profession can come in and actually take part. It is crucial in the oil and gas industry. It is very important in manufacturing, energy transportation, and all that. So our job is basically, to protect lives, property, the environment, and etc. So now, what is the aim of occupational health and safety? The first priority of occupational health and safety is to prevent workplace injury and illness, to prevent fatality, if I would say, to protect assets, property. In the oil and gas industry, assets are a key fundamental part of any oil and gas project. For instance, where I work, there are flow lines, oil lines, gas lines, both on the surface, remote headers are there, tie-ins are there. And these things cost money. They are assets. And if anything happens, they will take several months, probably years, to be able to put them back again. And as a safety professional, these are the things we work to protect: human lives, assets. And we also ensure compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. We also try to, as much as possible, to promote culture of safety and environmental responsibility. And again, we reduce environmental impact, as a result of an environmental aspects, organizations' environmental aspects. So areas of specialization. So all these symbols you are seeing represent different areas of specialization, and I'm going to take them one after the other, but briefly, because the essence of the webinar is to be able to tell us different areas of specialization that we have in occupational health and safety. So people who can take advantage of those areas could develop themselves in those areas and become a voice, okay, in the profession. Many of us, like somebody is saying in the comments, many of us are generalists, many of us. There are people who are into the technical aspect of health and safety, okay. I don't know why my mouse is running. Anyways, okay, the first item or the first area of specialization I want to mention briefly here is HSE generalists. Like I said earlier, this is where most people, the bulk of HSE professionals, this is where they are. This is where they have gathered. This is where we are, myself inclusive. This is where we are. And we're all trying to grab a pie. We are trying to eat from the same, wellhead, the same cake, the same, meat pie. All of us are trying to eat from that because we are all generalists. And so we are developing ourselves to become generalists and then try to get other opportunities. Okay, so a generalist is actually a generalist. He has the basic information in almost every area of health, except some technically inclined area that he does not have the uh, pre-requisite knowledge. That is to say, the primary knowledge, the basic knowledge. For instance, engineering. So if he's not an engineer, he may not have that technical skills to be able to understand that. However, a generalist is one who has touched many areas. He has dealt with working at height, he has dealt with economics, he has dealt with health issues, he has dealt with construction safety, oil and gas, and all of that stuff. So that's a generalist. The second is occupational health. Now, these are workers who focus on workers' well-being and the prevention of occupational disease. So basically, the second area of specialization is occupational health. Now, this is good for those who have health background. It's more, it's going to be, they will do fine. They will do better when they go into this area. Those who have degree in health science, nursing, or whatever, they will do well when they're in this area. Hygiene, workplace, wellness, and programs. They are specialists, and their specialists include nurses and hygiene. So that is basically occupational health. The third is industrial hygiene. It's another area of specialization, occupational health and safety. Like I said, the occupational health and safety is the parent body. These are subsets in occupational health and safety. This involves identifying and controlling workplace hazards like chemicals, noise, radiation, biological agents, and all that. And they use techniques like air monitoring and exposure assessment, PPE recommendation. This is their job. So the generalist is not, when people specialize, the generalist is not saddled with all the responsibility, because what the generalist is a jack of all trade. He does all. Okay. So, and we have people like that. So these are certified industrial hygienists. ASP has a certification for CIH. Then again, we have the fourth area of specialization is safety engineering, safety and loss prevention engineer. Oftentimes, some companies use these words interchangeably. HSE engineer, safety engineer, HSE advisor, and all that. But basically, those who read engineering fit still more into this area of specialization. The reason is because they will use their engineering technicalities to be able to solve problems in design process, in process safety. The safety engineer is relevant. His first degree or his technical skill will help him do well. So these people focus on designing system and processes to prevent accident and injuries. So when they design a system, they design a platform, they are designing it with a mindset that it will prevent accidents, it will prevent injuries. Can you hear me? I hope you are hearing me. I want to.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you.
Good. So these are safety engineers, okay? And they involve risk assessment, failure mode analysis, process safety management. I'm just summarizing them. They are relevant in the oil and gas industry, in construction, in aviation. Safety engineers are needed, okay? Now we have the process safety management as well. It's also a part of safety engineering. These are people who read chemical engineering, petrochemical engineering, mechanical engineering. They will be more useful here. For instance, okay, let me take myself as a case study. I read electrical electronics engineering, so I could function when I developed myself, or by the time I developed myself in that area of technical skills, I could function as a safety engineer in safety instrumented systems using instrumentation because of my electronics background. So if I want to go to such area, I will do well because I understand the concept, the basic principles of electronics. I have been taught in the university. So I should be able to understand when these things are in play. That is exactly what it means. So process safety management professionals are people who deals with controlling risk associated with hazardous processes. So these are people who work in the chemical plants, power plants, refineries. Okay, they use frameworks like OSHA, process safety management, chemical process safety guidelines, and hazard operability studies to be able to save lives and property. Okay, so they are safety and loss prevention engineers. They specialize. So sometimes, usually in this part of the world, we have a lot of safety and loss prevention engineer. Okay, safety engineers, loss prevention engineers, they can use the name interchangeably, but however, they are engineers. Okay. Then I want to go to another one again. Sorry, 1 minute. Then we also have construction safety. There are people who focus on construction safety. Their expertise is in construction safety. They have built themselves in that area. And these are professions or people who specialize or they focus on preventing workplace accidents in the construction projects. They handle mega projects, construction, basically construction. It could be oil and gas construction. It could be civil construction. And their expertise includes fall protection, scaffolding safety, excavation safety, crane operations. It's when I came over here and I saw that most of what Aramco does is excavation. Excavation is a key component of the activities because of the pipeline, several pipeline gas lines that they lay all over the place. Excavation is a key component. In fact, there is hardly no job that is carried out without excavation. And again, they've been able to break the areas of specialization to so many fragments. There are people who are competent, they call them competent excavation personnel. That is Aramco standard. So there are people who are competent. Their competence about excavation, anything excavation, that's all they do. So they've been able to train and approve them to carry out such kind of responsibility because it's a high-risk activity as well. And again, crane operations is part of them. So specialists work at sites, they work as safety managers, construction safety officers, and they also work as auditors. We have the environmental management. This one is very, very popular. In quality health and safety, one we know, or one most of us are familiar with, some are biased or skewed towards health. Some are skewed towards quality. Some are biased towards health. Some are safety. And then some are environment. Now, the environmental management system is a key component, ISO 14001. So these are people who ensures compliance with environmental regulation and sustainability initiative activities. They cover pollution control, waste management, climate change mitigation, and etc. So environmental health and safety managers, they oversee these areas. So usually there are people who work, their area of specialization is environmental management, but however, they just call them HSE. There are those who are safety itself, but they still call them HSE, meaning they could attempt environmental issues, they could solve environmental problem, they could solve quality problem, they could also solve safety problem. So environmentalist is another area of specialization. We have those who specialize in fire and emergency management, fire safety. There are many courses, many training about fire. And of course, the industry is also big. Big organizations recruit all these professionals separately. They don't just take one person and make him do all the tasks. No, who is like a generalist. But they employ specifically every key area of the profession that they need. So these involve fire risk assessment, emergency response planning, and fire prevention system. They are essential for industry with high risk, such as oil and gas, chemical plants, and warehouses. It's unfortunate that in our society, we usually incorporate fire safety into most buildings. That is why you see a lot of times when you see building on fire, there is nothing they can do because there is no fire hose rail, there is no fire hydrant. Nothing is involved because safety was not consulted or they refused to have safety. So fire safety is also a key area of specialization. If your interest aligns with that, you may want to push ahead with fire safety and emergency management. There are also those who are more inclined to behavior-based. What they do is they focus on influencing workers' behavior to improve safety culture. There are organizations you go to. If the person, the safety manager, is more behavior-based inclined, his observations would always be that if you influence the behavior of the worker, then you will be able to reduce accident. You will be able to reduce hazards. So they are more behavior-based. They use observations, feedback, training programs to reduce unsafe behaviors. Okay, that's another area of specialization. And there are many courses one can do to be able to be a specialist in that area. They work to develop and implement behavioral safety programs. So most of their programs are behavioral. They deal with the culture, the behavior of the people, the attitude of the people, the character of the people to be able to achieve their safety targets. We also have ergonomics. Ergonomics is the interface between man and his working environment. From the screen, you can see somebody, from the screen, you can see somebody sitting in his right position, facing his workstation. And ergonomics have designed this whole system to be able to, that there's a position you must sit, there is an angle that you must also sit, both your arms, your legs, to be able to have that balance. That is ergonomics. So it's the interface between man and his working environment. The working environment has been designed to fit man. Man is not to fit the work environment. It is the work environment that has been designed to fit man. Ergonomics play a key role in advancing safety. Almost everything, both the computer screen that we look at, ergonomics are involved. The things we handle, the games we play, ergonomics are involved. The exercises, why we interact with these things will not harm us. That is what the ergonomics does. Then we also have occupational toxicology. People can also specialize in this area. They study the effects of chemical and toxic substances on human health. That is what they do. They are specialists. They help in developing exposure limits. They carry out research. They come up with exposure limits. For instance, hydrogen sulfide, exposure to hydrogen sulfide. They will tell you the time that you don't need to, if you want to expose yourself, the requirements, the safety, the self-contained breathing apparatus that you must use to be able to work in those kind of areas, especially in confined space. Okay, so occupational toxicologists work in regulatory bodies, laboratories, and industries. Transportation and logistics safety is another. Now, this area of specialization, they focus on reducing accident and hazard in transportation and logistics operations. Training, journey safety, or I would say transportation of dangerous, okay? They are relevant in industry like trucking, shipping, even aviation. It's logistics. There are people who work there. I think one of us, Abanom, works in something like this. So that's an area of safety. You may want to develop your specialist in that area and go into more training, more courses to be able to understand the concept of working in that area and specialized. Then we also have health and safety law and compliance. These are people who deal with the law. For instance, Ministry of Environment, we have the Ministry of Environment there, we have the Ministry of Labor there, we have OSHA, we have the UK Health and Safety Executive. We have the Environmental Protection Association of Authorities, or Environmental Protection Authority of the USA. These are regulatory frameworks to enforce compliance, that organizations must comply, with legal and regulatory health and safety requirements. So one can go into that and become an inspector, a labor inspector, become an enforcer of the law in the area of occupational health and safety. Just the way we have police enforcing the law in the area of, taming criminals and all of that, the same way these people are saddled with the responsibility of enforcing compliance, and organizations must comply with their directives. We have the radiation safety, those who work in the nuclear power plants. Their managers, they manage risk associated with ionizing and non-ionizing radiation. They include radiation protection programs in medical, nuclear, and industrial sectors. They are called radiation safety officers. So these people are also working, they work in nuclear power plants. It's an area of specialization. If you love it, you like it, you may want to take advantage of any of these areas, depending on your background anyways. Now, we now have corporate social responsibility and sustainability. This one looks like it's a new framework. It's not too long. It's under the environmental and social governance that they carved out this one. So now organizations are beginning to recruit, people are beginning to develop themselves in corporate social responsibility and sustainability. What's their duty? The focus on corporate sustainable initiative related to health and safety. They include environmental conservation, carbon footprint reduction, social responsibility program. Sustainability managers or corporate social responsibility professionals, they are responsible in leading this drive. And the last I would like to talk about is the oil and gas sector. Sometimes when you apply for jobs, if you have construction background and you apply for certain kind of jobs, especially that require key technical skills, one of the key requirements, they will say, do you have oil and gas experience? Some people have been deprived some good offers because they don't initially have oil and gas experience. Because the oil and field is a unique work environment. You may meet similar hazards both in construction and the oil and gas, but the oil and gas is quite unique. So they want people with that experience. Everybody can work in the oil and gas, depending on the position you occupy. It's an open field. A generalist works there. Specialist works there. So these people specialize in safety programs for the upstream, midstream, and downstream operations. I work in the upstream operation. And they cover offshore safety, drilling operations, and refinery hazards. Positions include HSE advisors, process safety engineers, offshore safety consultants, and the list goes on. So basically, I've mentioned about 16 areas of specialization, and there are more. There are more. These are not just all. There are more. In developed worlds, you will see more where they are broken them down to bits by bits, and everybody does its own. For instance, I can give you a case study here. It was here I discovered that they have permit issuer, okay? Not just I'm discovering, but I mean, the way they broke it, there's a permit issuer, there's a permit receiver. His job is issue permits. The other one is receiver. The receiver executes the permits. They have both internal and external. That's the way they have defined it here. But I think back home in Nigeria, the permit to work system is generally, it's like a general system of, a safe system of work, general safe system of work, where responsibilities are not broken. One person does all the activities, but it's not like that here. The issuer gives the permit after joint inspection with the receiver. The receiver executes the permit after receiving it from the issuer. And that is the way it works. And the safety officer is also there to monitor the process, that everything that they are doing falls in line with the safety requirements of Aramco or the safety requirements of the contracting firm they are working for. That is basically what happens here. So the permit system is broken in bits for people to specialize in different areas. And again, they must all have approvals. They must all have approvals. They will go and write exams, they will pass the exams, and then they will approve them. It's one of the key certifications that people must get if you want to work as a receiver or an issuer. That is the way it works here. But I don't think it's not the same with the way it is done in Nigeria. So basically, these are some of the areas of specialization I just want to throw out there so that people can look at it, and at some point you may be, you may want to try some other things. So if you have the opportunity, develop yourself in those areas and begin to implement change in your career, and you will discover that you will do excellently well. Okay? Now, let me just look at some statistics just to acquaint us. I got this from the National Bureau of Statistics. It was a survey they did in 2014. So we are going to look at some statistics here and then to see how, or the figures will tell us that, okay, the profession is still young. If you look at the figures here, the profession is still young. For instance, they have divided the country, Nigeria, into geopolitical or geographical zones. Let me not put politics. Geographical zones, which is southwest, southeast, south, northwest, and all of that stuff, FCT and all that. Now they have registered factories and the number of inspectors. The inspectors are enforcers of the law. Like I said before, those who are into compliance, they specialize in compliance. So the enforcers of the law. So you can look at these figures. That in the Southwest, they have 2,777 registered factories. And out of that, the 82 is that more inspectors are needed. The figure does not make sense. More inspectors are needed. That means the profession is still young and open. I don't think they have made any significant improvement from 2014. I mean, the past 9 years or 10 years, not made any, I don't think made any significant improvement. For instance, if you go to Southeast, you also see something like 922, but only 5 inspectors. How can 5 inspectors, and the list goes on, how can 5 inspectors cover 922 factories, registered factories? How can 22 inspectors alone cover 2,777 factories? It is not possible. That is to say that the profession is hoping to accumulate more people who are interested. And again, every day people are coming into the profession, into the health and safety profession, to carve a niche for themselves. So this is just an idea of what is obtainable if we are able to develop ourselves and get ourselves fixed in some of these areas. Another statistics I got from Spherical Insights 2025. It says that the global environmental health and safety market insights forecast to 2032. This forecast is up to 2032. The global environmental health and safety market size was valued at the cost of 6.5 billion in 2022. Now, what they are saying is from 2022 to 2032, 10 years apart, there's going to be a cumulative aggregate growth of 7.3%. That means more people will come into the profession. About 7.3% will always come, increase. Every year there will be that level of increase. That's to tell you that the health and safety market is quite big and very open. The worldwide environment, health, and safety market size is also expected to reach. So you see, the 10 years duration of 10 years period is going to double, more than double the value of 6.5 billion 2022 to 13.23 billion by 2032. And it says Europe is expected to grow the fastest during the forecast period. Europe will do more. And I don't know why Africa usually is behind. But the African market is very, 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 very open and pregnant. Again, let me take the Gulf region. Let's look at the statistics from the Gulf region. Now, the industry, these are the industries that employs occupational health and safety specialists, or occupational health and safety professionals in the Gulf areas. Support activities for mining, they are employing more people. Oil and gas extraction is even the least. So there are industry generalists can go into support activities for mining, they can go into utility system, construction, they can go into management, scientific, technical, and consulting services. They can go into non-residential building, which is like civil construction and all that, and oil and gas. So these other areas are attracting more professionals than even the oil and gas. Okay? So what it means is that in summary, each specialization contributes to the broader goal of protecting people, property, and the environment. Now, like I said again, there are many areas of specialization, but these are the handful of them that we can rally around and get ourselves trained, get ourselves educated, certified to be able to work in these areas and make a living for ourselves. Thank you.
Wow.
Questions?
Thank you very much, Engineer Nawurio, for that informative presentation. I'm sure it has shed more light on the different path that we can go through in this our health and safety profession. So we'll open the floor for questions and answers. Please, if you have any question, please drop it on the chat box.
Okay, let me stop sharing.
Please drop your question on the chat box so that Engineer Nawurio can take our questions and provide answers to them. Since Engineer Nawurio said 6.5 billion in 6.5 billion US dollars, the market size as of 2022, at least let's see which one would, if I can take the $0.5 billion from the 6.5. Great presentation, sir.
Thank you.
If you check the chat box, you will see the LinkedIn link to Engineer Nawurio's profile. So if you have any question outside here, you can also reach out to him. So, Engineer, we have a question. So, from Emmanuel Ogiovi. He said, "Thank you, sir. Any recommendations on which firm we can undergo this different category of training? Any recommendations?"
Well, depends on yeah, there are I could recommend some, but again, let me also advise us that some of this training or specialist training, especially with the way our economy is, they are quite expensive. but you could also get some trainings online. There are many resources to get an idea of what they are. You could do some of those training online. You could go to Google and find a lot of training. They will help you again. But if you have the resources, you can. For those who can reach out to me, I'll be able to look out for something. But I can tell you that they are very expensive. Okay, but that's not the problem. The problem is if you are ready to develop yourself, you will need to. The market is not cheap. HSC profession is not cheap like people think. Now it's very expensive. Even the smallest NIBOSH course is now the price is crazy. So you can imagine that when you want to do
Exchange
certain
rate.
level of courses, just like for instance, now IOSH came up with an idea of those who have what is it called? Those who have quite some number of years of experience and you want to migrate from maybe Tech IOSH, you want to move to either from Tech IOSH or for Start IOSH, you want to move to Chartered Fellow and all that. You can see the amount is about £500. If you convert that to your money, that's going to give you some millions.
Yes.
Are you seeing the
So,
cost now?
yes, it's on the high side. So, engineer, we
It's
have
on the
another
very high side.
So we have
Okay.
another question from Wede Obaho. Looking at the Nigerian context, operationalizing these virgin fuels for safety professionals is a Herculean task. Please advise. Should I come again with
Take
the
the
question,
question. Yes, come again, because the man is speaking too many grammar.
We have professors. From Wede Obaho. Looking at the Nigerian context,
Yeah.
operationalizing these virgin fields for safety professionals is a Herculean task. Please advise.
Yes, that is very correct because you see, we are still far from development. Okay. Some of these professions are in play because the Western world have been able to develop themselves to that level. But in Nigeria, you will hardly find that level of, except you find yourself maybe in good oil and gas environment where these things. Otherwise, it's just normal generalists that you would see. Okay, maybe LNG. If you find yourself in LNG, you will be able to do certain things. Our aviation sector is nothing. The aviation sector alone is massive in developed world. There are people who specialize in accident investigation. Sometimes we watch DSTV, air crash. Yes, air crash investigation, right? These are specialists. So when there's an air crash, they call them to conduct, audit a system and come up with the root cause. Now, but if we don't have that enabling environment, or we have not developed our sectors to those areas. What about agriculture? We've not done anything about agriculture. So there are virgin areas that we have done nothing. The only area we are trying, let me use that word trying, is oil and gas. Otherwise, most areas we are not. We are not, so we are still, but again, you could gather that knowledge, you could gather the knowledge because it's going to help you in the future. It's going to help you somewhere. And you try to be global and local. Okay.
Global and local.
If you have that mindset, global and local. If you have that mindset, then it will position you where you'll be able to see things from a better perspective. That is what it means. But however, there is no harm in learning and developing yourself. So many areas in Nigeria, they are virgin. Airline area, aviation sector, nothing. We are far away. Agriculture is there. We are far away. Manufacturing, we don't even have serious manufacturing plants in Nigeria. We don't.
Well,
So these are some of the challenges because we are still behind.
So thank you, sir. We have other questions. So one of the questions we have from Victor Celestine. Those who don't have engineering background, can they skill up to be a safety engineer?
Well, those who don't have engineering background, but one thing I can tell you is that most of the safety engineers, okay, they have engineering background. But again, it's not too late to go and learn some engineering concepts. It's not too late. So that will help you migrate, you know. But the truth is that most of the safety engineers, I can tell you, they all have engineering background.
Okay. So we have another
So
question.
that will help them. That will help them blend more. So it will make things easier for them. The essence is that because they have the prior knowledge, it becomes easier than somebody who does not have engineering background, and they are mentioning things like for instance, in safety instrumented system, they are mentioning gates, all gates, hand gates, and all that. And you don't know anything about them, and then you're thinking, what are they talking about? So they don't have the time to begin to take you back to level 100 and begin to teach you what these things means. No. So that is why it's not easier for the safety engineers to be able to understand this concept and then fill in those positions.
Thank you very much, sir. So, what training can you recommend to upskill one's career in the area of construction safety?
For construction safety, the NIBOSH construction is there. The NIBOSH construction is there. OSHA construction is there as well. So if it is construction you want to go into, there are constructions, they are there. So there are tons of courses to do to be able to build your knowledge and your technical skills.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. That's I think Mr. Chukwemeka Victor must have gotten answer to his question. So, what can those who
But
do not have
because of time, those who they can reach me privately, I'll be able to answer some of their questions. Okay.
Okay, sir. So,
Hello, yeah. Good evening.
good evening. Please,
Yeah, is that Musa?
yes, sir.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Do I have the space to talk for 1 minute?
Okay, please go ahead, sir.
Okay. My name is Engineer Charles Osuji, the president-elect of ASSP. I actually joined you people from Muscat, Oman, the Sultanate of Oman, for this meeting. I want to thank Engineer Benjamin for this wonderful exposition on career opportunities in safety and health, HSC generally. I think it's a welcome that will be an eye-opener to most of our young professionals that are coming into safety. In fact, for me, this needs to be repeated over and over again for a lot of people to gain insight and also take up a direction. A lot of people are into general kind of safety, but specialization pays more. Okay, and like he explained, in Nigeria, there is no much specialization because the awareness is not there. But when you come out in overseas, Middle East, and also the Europe and the other advanced economies in the world, you begin to see the value of specialization. So thank you, Gina Benjamin, for this exposition. I also want to encourage young professionals using this opportunity that safety, a lot is involved in safety. And with what he has explained today, you can see that a lot of opportunities are there. I also want to use this opportunity to ask you people to find time to register for the ASSP PDC that is coming up. I believe you have seen the flyers, and we are just very close to the event, which is coming up on the 3rd and 4th of April. So thank you for this program, the KISS, and then thank you for the presenter. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to Musa for the organization. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Engineer Charles Osuji. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure to have you in our midst. Thank you for joining, sir. So, Engineer Naworio, please, before we go, we still have one more question. So, please, if we have other questions, we can check the chat box, the LinkedIn profile of, and the LinkedIn that will take us to the LinkedIn profile of Engineer Naworio, where you can chat him up to better get some insight or to ask some questions. Is on the chat box. You can check it up. So lastly, sir, I'm not an engineer by educational learning, but I was a fireman in the early 80s, and I've practiced safety till date. But I think it all boils down to oneself development through trainings you have so far. It is recommended. Okay, that was a recommendation. Thank you very much, Mr. Avuede Obaho. So we're calling on
Mr. Musa.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Yes, just a quick one. Because of what you just said now, somebody asked that question before. I just want to bring in this as a way of encouraging people. Though Benjamin has already responded to that. Yeah, safety for people that are in the engineering profession, yeah, it is easier. But I have also seen a number of people that were not in engineering career line, but they are seasoned safety professionals today. So I think it boils down to determination, like the last person said. It boils down to determination and making a decision that this is a career path that I want to choose out of interest. I've seen somebody, the person that actually tutored me when I had Nebosh, was formerly a banker that read accounting. But because she was with the responsibility of safety in her banking office, she picked interest from there. As I speak to you today, she's in Australia and has PhD in safety. She took interest in that and diverted from the accounting job, went into safety trainings, from general safety trainings, Bosch and Co. As I speak to you today, she is in Australia with PhD in safety practicing also. So it can happen. It's a matter of a decision that one can just take up and say, okay, I've decided to pick interest in this and I want to go that line. Thank you. Please, just encourage people. You mustn't be in the before you can go into that.
Please, moderator, I'm joining from Canada. I just wanted to give one or two things here. May I please speak?
Okay, please. Okay, go ahead, sir. Just a minute, sir.
Yeah, I want to thank my brother. What he has presented, believe you me, can be cut into a different curricula. But the problem I think we have is the idea of thinking we must always seek all our knowledge from overseas. I was the one who wrote that thing. I've been a fireman in the 80s. We started Delta Steel Company, and I was the president of American Society of Safety Professionals, Nigerian chapter, 2013-2014. But what he has presented is not beyond our reach. The only thing I ask, what is wrong with ISPON? What is wrong with ASSP? Inculcating this and getting relationship with the supervising bodies overseas and get a sense of certification so our brothers and sisters in Nigeria can have cheap access to this knowledge and get certification so they can get jobs in Nigeria and be able to get jobs overseas. These are the issues. There are many parts to the market square. What my brother presented is great. But it's not just one path. Let's think of how we can make it obtainable given the economic status we have in Nigeria.
Okay, sir.
ISPON and ASSP should form relationships for certification and get our brothers and sisters to be able to access it locally.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Avuede Obaho. The ESCOs are on the meeting, so I think that is noted, and that will be done. So I will call on ASSP Nigerian chapter ESCOs to please present the certificate of training to Engineer Benjamin Naworio to appreciate our speaker.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. Engineer Ben, thanks for the expositions, not only to the upcoming professionals, even to the experienced one. That there are so many land to conquer. So thanks for the presentation. This is Tolu Olubawo, the president of ASSP Nigeria. And on behalf of ASSP,
Thank you, sir.
young emerging professionals, I hereby present this digital certificate to you for a well-articulated presentation. Thank you. The coordinator will email
Thank
it
you,
to
sir.
you can get your copy later. Thanks for this. We look forward for more of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
Thank you
to
very much. Thank you very much, Sir Engineer Benjamin Naworio. Thank you very much, Sir Tolulope, for that presentation of certificate to our speaker. That's much appreciated, sir. So next on our agenda is updates from ASSP Nigerian chapter and ASSP Global from the ASSP Nigerian chapter secretary. So we want to hear if there's any updates for us. If there's any updates we need to know. So you have the floor, ASSP Nigerian chapter secretary. You have the floor.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Good evening to everyone on the virtual call. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
Okay, so my name is Bumi Bankole. Just like the moderator said, I'm the Nigerian chapter secretary, ASSP. But I think on the update I would have loved to share is the one the president-elect has already talked about. So there won't be need for me to repeat what he said, or just probably just to make emphasis on the fact that the professional development conference and exhibition is just close by, which is on the 3rd of April. So for those that are yet to register, please, the information has been at interval has been placed on the WhatsApp platform where you can pay if you're a member or non-member. Those informations are there on the flyer. And also he made emphasis also of wanting to be also a member of the ESSP, what it entails. You can do well to reach any of the ESCOs for further information if you want to become a member of an ESSP. So far so good. That's the major updates for the now. So thank you very much. I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir, for those important updates. Finally, to close the event, I would like to call and invite ASSP Nigerian Chapter Educational Committee Chairman to give us the closing remark. And please, after the closing remark, please stay back. We'll switch on our cameras. Everybody, make sure you are not on the main road. You switch on your cameras, then we'll get to see our face so that we can have a group photograph. Thank you very much. So I will call on the committee chairman to give us the closing remarks.
Okay, good evening once again. Good evening, the president, ASP Nigerian chapter, and members of the ESCO. Thank you for the privilege to attend this webinar. And thank you for all those who have contributed as well. So this meeting is officially coming to an end. We hope to see you again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, and thank you everyone for being part of today's event. Before we wrap up, let's gather for some group photograph. So please turn on your camera. Let's take a group picture before we leave. Thank you very much. Please turn on your cameras. Please, admin, allow people to open their video.
Yes, they can all open. Nobody is not restricted.
Okay. You cannot start your video because it is disabled by the host. So I think they might be having the same challenge.
Okay.
Okay. I think so. Let's take a group photograph. Mr. Godwin, Abdul Karim, our cameras are still off. Okay. So, Mr. Vuede Obaho, Disheye Oba, we still have our cameras off. Please, we need to take these group pictures. Please ensure you are not on the main road. Safety first, safety always. Okay, wow. These are our faces. We are all looking. It's like we're enjoying. And some persons are eating. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. So that is done. So we hereby call this meeting to a close. Thank you very much. See you on the next chapter learning series.